The following program, Real Estate Radio, is sponsored by Trusted Agent USA and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio, hosted by the real estate therapist Larry Shakman, a top-producing real estate broker, author, CEO, and founder of TrustedAgentUSA.com, the ultimate real estate matchmaker, connecting you with top-performing agents for 2% commission. Each week, we bring you exclusive interviews with industry experts, covering everything from staging to negotiation strategies to home inspection issues and everything in between. Whether you're selling your home, a first-time home buyer, or a seasoned investor, we've got you covered. Let's make your real estate dreams a reality in this fast-moving and ever-changing real estate market. This program is funded in whole or in part by Trusted Agent USA, Illinois license number 475-145-795. Now, here's Larry.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys are all set up for a great weekend. And my name is Larry Shakman. I am, of course, the real estate therapist. I am also a real estate broker. I've been a broker for about 23 years with EXP right now. Full disclosure, a lot of great companies out there, and EXP is one of them. So if you ever need any help, you can reach me directly at 630-921-0611, whether you're selling, buying, or investing. And just a little bit of housekeeping here. This is a full contact sport this morning. We have Patrick Loftus with us of Loftus Law. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm all right.
All right, it's Saturday morning.
It is, yes. As much as I love to sleep in, being able to spend the morning with Larry, it turns out I'd rather do that than sleep in.
Yeah, be honest, you lost a bet.
Well, I cannot tell a lie. I don't know. That famous quote?
Hey, man, we're happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
As always. But you guys out there, like I said, full contact sport. There's a lot going on in real estate. We have a lot to talk about today. Give us a call or text us at 773-763-9278. 773-763-9278. And you can also, believe it or not, you can watch us live if you think you could handle that. But you could watch us live on Facebook at WCPT 820. And we're also on TikTok at the Real Estate Therapist _.
And by the way, the first person that can identify the football/soccer team that this jersey is for, I'll get you, I don't know, $10.
Now, I'll give you a $25 gift certificate to Freedom Brothers Pizza in Plainfield or Naperville. And let me tell you something. You will thank me later. That is an awesome place.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. And I have no idea what it is, or I'd guess and take my own gift certificate and go there. But yeah, you guys call in if you have any questions. We're going to have a call-in guest today. John Hoffman will be calling in at about 9:30. We'll be talking to him about the REO market, what's going on in the foreclosure market, which John is still in, and I was in for a long time. Both of us are REO warriors.
That's an interesting market that... Well, yeah, we'll talk more about that when he calls in.
Yeah.
But I have a lot to say.
Yeah, good, cool. Yeah, because me and John have been doing it for a long, long time, and it's like herding cats. It's crazy.
I just closed one on Tuesday, so.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Good. We'll talk about that.
Good.
And we're also going to bring Dylan Kramer on. Dylan is the branch manager at Benchmark Mortgage in Oak Brook. Of course, they do business all over the country. Dylan is out of Oak Brook, and we're going to talk what's going on in the lending landscape, where rates are going, and it to some extent it's probably going to sound like a broken record, but because rates are still right around 7%, they're drifting high sixes, very, very low 0.02, something like that. So not a lot happening with rates. And let's bring Dylan on right now. Dylan, are you with us out there from Cape Cod?
I am, Larry. Good morning to you from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Yeah, welcome. We got Patrick Loftus here with us as well, like last week.
Awesome. Patrick, good to talk to you again.
Good morning, Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah. Dylan's on the road.
Are you saying that because of my travels or the haircut?
Well, I mean, you do remind me a little Pitbull.
I love it.
What am I talking about?
No, that's perfect. Dylan, what's the weather like in Cape Cod? I got to ask. It's foggy, right?
No, this morning it's 78 and sunny. It's a little bit humid, but it's been fantastic, and it's been a great way to wind ourselves. We've been in New England, as I mentioned last week on the show. We were in Maine, and we've been in New England, or Niagara Falls, and went to Maine, but we've been in New England this whole trip, and it's really been a fantastic exploration of the country. We've gone, my family's gone west a lot. This is the first time we went east, and it's been just fantastic.
How'd you like Faneuil Hall?
I like the historic parts of Boston, and I think that is one of them. But, the other thing, Larry, is I think that they do with a lot of these historic sites is, they convert it into a tchotchke shop, almost like a flea market, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that
the Wisconsin Dells of Boston.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. So, but they do that at Niagara Falls, and they do that they got to sell you a coffee mug everywhere. And I appreciate the hustle, but they really, if you haven't been to downtown Boston in a few years, they've done a lot of revitalization that's reminiscent of what Chicago has done with the River Walk, and it's really a fantastic place to hang out and spend a few hours and walk around to everything. And then you see some of the historical stuff like Paul Revere's house, like literally the house his family lived in. It's the oldest place in the North End, which I'm sure you know. And so all of a sudden you're standing on ground where, major founding events of our country happened. And you can feel the energy. Like it almost, there are times it gave me the chills. It's really fantastic. Yeah,
no, it's a great part of the country.
Yeah.
Patrick, have you been to?
I've only been to Boston for flying in and out when I went to Maine many years ago. But my wife and I went to New York City earlier this summer, and I hear exactly what you're saying. It's like you're walking around, looking at your history book from when you were a kid come to life, and there's a certain energy about that. I get the same vibe in DC as well. The eastern part of the country definitely has a different flavor, a different quality, just because of the amount of history it has in terms of the founding
it's where it all started.
Of this country. I mean, there's certainly let's not discount the fact that the West has history, but it's just not white people history necessarily. So.
Right. Exactly. No, and it just is amazing. Here's the other thing I found out. We're proud Chicagoans, most of us, right? We're proud to be from Chicago. I mean, but nobody's prouder to be from where they are than Boston people are prouder than to be from Boston. I will tell you that.
And they're great drivers, too, aren't they?
Let everybody experience that for themselves.
Nobody's prouder of being from Chicago than someone from Aurora.
That's exactly right.
Exactly right.
So what's going on in the lending landscape? What's happening out there? What are we going to talk about today?
I got two things for you. One of them is a kind of a revisit, but it happened again this week with clients of ours. And I mentioned on the show last week, my team was busy working while I've been on vacation, which is a blessing. But we, the wheels of commerce keep turning, and we had a couple of more transactions this week that are confirming for me the validity of the value acceptance module, right, which is the waiving of an appraisal and the acceptance of the price being paid by the purchasing homeowner of a new house, where they can save themselves, $500 or $600 in a couple of weeks of time, because Fannie Mae's algorithm is letting them do the loan based on the purchase price and not necessarily needing an appraisal to validate it. So we had two more of those this week, and it's an option that we present to clients. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, Larry, there have been no situations where we've gotten a value acceptance and then a borrowers opted into an appraisal and it's appraised short. So it just seems that the algorithm is, 100% certain that if the value's there, it's not going to need an appraisal. And that's really been a great benefit for the clients, but also for the speed for the transactions. And in a market like this, certainty and speed of transaction is really important for folks. So we're glad that continues to happen. So that's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Matt, I could probably spend the rest of the hour talking about this, because appraisals, I mean, Larry, you know how it works, and everything's going fine, and the appraisal comes in 10 grand short, and it absolutely throws the deal into complete turmoil.
Yeah.
And Dylan, I can imagine that when you make that phone call when your client has just submitted the offer, and you tell the listing agent that, hey, by the way, we've already got the appraisal thing. We've got that taken care of. We're not doing an appraisal. The algorithm's already taken care of it. That is going to elevate that offer, and in a multiple offer situation is going to be a massive benefit in terms of whether or not your client gets their offer accepted.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about that. It's a difference maker across the board. And look, we thought, Patrick, what you say is really bringing us back to what Larry and I talked about a few weeks ago when I was in the studio, right? And Larry was talking about how getting a deal in this market is difficult, right? Like if they're asking X for the house, winning is not like it was a few years ago where you're like, oh, well, we're going to pay 93% of the list price or whatever. Winning a real estate transaction in this market for any decent property is just being the one who gets the contract. Like that's the win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I've talked to agents. I was just discussing with an agent yesterday. She was talking about how she had a client. I'm gonna botch the details on it, but basically they had the highest bid cash, and they lost out to a bid that was lower financed, but it was that offer was going to close in 30 days rather than 45 with the cash offer. And you go, I mean, you couldn't wait another 15 days to get more money cash, but no, that's what moved the needle for these folks. There's
the dynamics of an offer are meant it's not just price all the time. Yeah.
I'm just surprised by that from an agent standpoint. Not necessarily your agent, Patrick, but that the other agent didn't explore the idea of could you pay cash and rent it back, right, and solve for that problem instead of just taking the other offer because it was shorter. I mean, I just don't. No, I'm so confused by that.
100%. I mean, look, I had so many questions, but it was like I'm not trying to. I mean, the person I was talking to yesterday, she was completely perplexed by it, as was I, and. You can never know what's going on the other side of these discussions, and you also don't get to determine how competent that other agent is. I mean, for all you know, it's someone's cousin who just got their real estate license, 60 days ago, and they're like, well, this is what it is, and they don't have the experience to say, look, let's get you more money and exactly what you want.
Yeah, that is interesting because the dynamics of an offer, there are many. There's price, there's closing date, type of financing, and just, those things are the major ones, right?
Yeah.
But it has to come together for everybody.
And then people start fighting over whether it's 105% or 110% on the tax
I leave that up to you guys from now on. I just say per attorney. I'm not even getting into it.
That's a double-edged sword. I could talk all day about this one. There are some instances when that's absolutely, I think, the right way to go. It's completely appropriate. I'd say specifically when you're dealing with a portion of Cook County that is in a reassessment year, probably punt that to the lawyers because they're gonna modify it anyway unless you just got lucky and the assessed valuation is not changing too much. Anywhere else, if you think it should be 110 rather than 105, put 110 in there, because if you leave it to the lawyers, they're going to fight over that 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a buyer's lawyer, I'm gonna go, I want 110%, and then the seller's lawyer is going to go, no, I'm only giving 105%, and then I get all bent out of shape because I take it personally, and then I have to go meditate for 5 minutes. And then I bring, and Larry's the therapist. He's, he could probably explain what exactly is going on in my mind that is leading me in that direction. But, the way through that or past that is just do a little math, and you go, oh, it's like $300 difference. Let's just, let's be okay.
I will say for suburban deals, I typically just put 105.
Yeah, just chuck 105 in there.
Chicago can be very different.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But so what else you got, Dylan?
Well, I know, Larry, you had mentioned that you were kind of not seeing a whole lot of news on mortgage rates, but I would tell you that the last couple of days behind the scenes, we've seen a spike back towards the mid-sevens on these rates.
Yeah.
I think that the consumer price index came in a little hotter than anticipated at 3.2% versus 3%, and because of that, the bond market feels like there's some stickiness in housing expenses, oddly caused by the rise in interest rates over the last year, right? And so it's kind of reversed course, and we're sitting really as high as we've had rates since November. And I think that over the next couple of weeks, we're really going to find out, are rates going to go higher from here, or is this finally going to be about it? And I'm a little worried that they're going to go higher because we just have not had a lot of good inflation news over the course of the last few months, and when is that going to start? So I would just caution everybody that, again, waiting for lower rates is not a solution to your real estate problems. You got to get another answer off the couch.
And you can always refi. But so me and Patrick were just talking about this a little bit earlier today. You probably know it, but what is the lowest 30-year fixed interest rate recorded on record?
And
you're not winning a gift certificate if you get this right.
You better get this right.
Yeah, I would tell you it's probably somewhere in the 2 3/4 range.
Yeah, you're right. You're pretty much right on. Which
is the rate I have on my own house, luckily, because we were able to take advantage in the refi boom. So, and it's a funny thing about that. That's literally at the time people are like, oh, 2 3/4, they're going to go lower. I didn't really think they could go lower than that, and here's why. The mechanism to produce the loan for servicing costs about 2 3/4% of the amount of the loan. So if it's on average a $300,000 loan, it's going to cost about $7,000 or 2 3/4% to create that loan and pay underwriters and pay processors and pay people who put the loans into servicing and people who take care of the paperwork of following up on the recording of the liens and et cetera, et cetera. The mechanism of the structure in the mortgage business at the time of those lows was about 2 3/4%.
Yeah,
it was effectively just covering the cost of creating the loan. The gap for the interest. It was interesting.
So literally free money.
Yeah, January 2021. We were at 2.65%, so you were pretty much right on. Now, it's funny you brought up inflation and everything. We literally, what's really causing in this market, I think, in general, the general economic market to really take off is the housing market, because housing prices are still so high, and I think that's what's holding up inflation as much as anything, because the core inflation rate,
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, the core inflation rate last month went up slightly, but it went up slightly for really one reason: the cost of housing. And if you take that out of it, the core inflation rate actually dropped again last month. So
you're exactly right. Higher prices and higher rates are driving inflation. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy higher, right?
Absolutely. And that is exactly, I think, a major part of the problem. And, it's what I've said pretty much on every show. We have to keep housing affordable. If we don't keep housing affordable, it's going to really skew the entire economy. So it's a big deal to keep housing affordable, I think.
I would agree with that 100%.
I completely agree.
Yeah. What else is going on exciting? So where are rates at right now? We had about are you talking like 7.4? What were we?
I think you're probably looking at a 7.3, 7.4 type of handle for most folks. I think is really kind of where things are at. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, on a $300,000 loan, it might be $50 more expensive than it was last week. So I wouldn't lose sleep over it. But at the end of the day, yeah, the trend is higher.
Why is it going from like the high sixes and then bounces up to 7.4? And what is that contingent on? I mean, what causes that?
Well, ultimately, the day-to-day movement of mortgage rates is determined by the trading in the securities market of mortgage-backed securities, right? So but the payment I make every month, the payment you make every month, and that everybody makes on their house every month is, in essence, packaged by the servicing system in the mortgage business and sold to investors, right? Whether that's Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or the Union Pipe Fitters Local 300 of Northern California, right, that wants to invest in the guaranteed interest rate of mortgage bonds. And so those bonds are bought and sold every day in the securities market, much like stocks, and they trade every day on the news, right? Much like, company stocks do, right? Whether you hear something about Microsoft or Google and they're like, oh, Google had more advertisers this month. Stock goes up a couple of bucks.
Right.
Google turned around and failed with their goggles, right, a few years ago. Stock goes down a few bucks. But the general trend stays intact. Mortgage-backed securities are the same, right? So every day, almost, at least 4 days a week, there's news that affects inflation, mortgage-backed securities, and the economy generally, right? Whether that's, weekly employment, the monthly employment numbers, the CPI numbers, the employment cost index. And I know I'm kind of dorking out on this for you, so I'll just say that there's always a data point almost every day that will bounce those mortgage bonds inside the range of, at this point, 6.5, or actually probably 6 3/4 to 7.5, and they go up a little and they go down a little. But my worry is that the general trend is starting to set in for potentially even higher rates and might move the range closer to 7.5 to 8 rather than 7 to 7.5.
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
We're still range bound. Right. Yeah. Right now we're still range bound, but just at the high end of the range.
Yeah. I could oversimplify even a little bit more. It's like there has to be a reason for an institutional investor to put their money into a mortgage-backed security. So what I mean by that is if I can buy a treasury bill, which is about the safest investment out there, basically a bond issued by the U.S. government at 5%. If I'm going to invest in something that's slightly riskier, a mortgage-backed security, I've got to be getting a better return if I'm CalPERS, if I'm the Ontario Teachers Union, or whatever it is. So in a certain way, that is what is ultimately behind what interest rate that you, me, or Dylan can actually get from a mortgage company, because on down the line, someone with lots and lots of money has to have a reason to buy that security instead of a treasury.
Yeah, makes sense.
For sure.
Makes sense. Dylan, I don't want to keep you from the family. They're probably already not happy with me. But
you know what? They're in a coffee shop right now, so they're doing fine.
Listen, you guys have an awesome end to your vacation. I know it's kind of winding down for you right now, but stay safe out there. Enjoy Cape Cod. It is an absolutely gorgeous place. And before you leave, tell everybody how they get in touch with you if they want to get a solid pre-approval and a great experience.
You can call or text me, and that number is 630-708-7088. Again, 630-708-7088.
Awesome. You guys heard it. Call Dylan if you need to get pre-approved. Dylan, have an awesome end of your vacation, and we'll see you, I believe, in the studio next week, right?
I'll be back, and I'll check in with you when I'm back in town on Monday as well.
Awesome. All right, man. Take care.
All right.
Talking
Thanks, guys.
Take care. We'll see you.
You got it.
Hey, guys, real quick, before we take a quick break, I want to thank our sponsors, and that is first Trusted Agent USA. Go to trustedagentusa.com if you want to save money, keep your equity in your pocket, work with the best agents out there. Go to trustedagentusa.com if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in the next 90 to 120 days. I think you'll be happy with what you see. Also, I want to thank Benchmark Mortgage and Dylan Kramer, obviously the branch manager in Oak Brook. Again, if you want a great experience, if you're buying a home, call Dylan up. Even if you just need a second opinion on what you've already have in hand in terms of your pre-approval, give Dylan a call. And most importantly, certainly not to Patrick, but most importantly, I want to thank At Home Title Services. Listen, if you're a real estate agent and you want to add another very valuable service to the menu of services you offer your sellers, then on August 16th at 11 a.m., At Home Title Services is having a virtual event, and the way to sign up for it, and it's free, by the way, as is the training to be a registered title agent. Go to athometitleservices.com and just click on the little button in the upper right-hand corner that says event, sign up for the event, or go to trustedagentusa.com, click on our partners, and click on At Home Title Services banner and sign up to find out how to become a registered title agent. Believe me, this is something you really need to do if you're a real estate agent in Illinois. Patrick, you can come back in the room now. Guys,
I blacked out for the last 90 seconds. I have no idea what happened.
We are going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back with John Hoffman and talk REOs and foreclosures.
Tune in to Real Estate Radio Saturdays at 9 a.m. hosted by the real estate therapist Larry Shakman, a top-producing real estate broker, author, CEO, and founder of TrustedAgentUSA.com. Top-performing agents for 2% commission, saving you thousands when you sell, buy, or invest. Real Estate Radio, the ultimate real estate radio experience. Get insider tips from experts throughout the real estate industry. Streaming live on Facebook at WCPT 820. Trusted Agent USA Illinois, license number 475145795. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio, sponsored in part by TrustedAgentUSA.com, the ultimate real estate matchmaker, saving you thousands. Now back to Larry, the real estate therapist.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and the couch is open still for about the next half hour or so. So we are going to put you in a state of real estate zen. Everybody, deep breath, inhale, exhale, pick up that glass of scotch next to you. No, I'm sorry, it's too early for that. Real estate zen, real estate radio, and we're going to bring John Hoffman on in a minute here. I just wanted to say, we had a great show last week. We had Margaret Gear on, and Margaret is the founder of Chicagoland Home Staging, and she brought up that was a pretty good show, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know what, I never thought to myself, I really need to know more about what a home stager does. And it turns out I should have thought more about that because I really enjoyed actually what she had to say.
Yeah. I mean, Margaret made a couple of really good points in that when you're selling your home, you want to stage it for the masses. When you're moving into your home, you're decorating your home for your own personal taste. So, for instance, when you're staging a home, not everybody may like that purple glow-in-the-dark ceiling in the bedroom with the mirror on the ceiling. Never mind. That's no. Not my room. That is not my. But you have to stage for the masses, because the more people you can get interested in your home when you first put it on the market, the better. So that was a great show last week.
Yeah, no doubt. And when I thought to myself about, look, she's out there and she's selling her service, and it's not cheap, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that if you're spending, let's say you have like a nice big house and she's gonna charge you $5,000 to stage it. Well, the reality is that the reason she's able to charge you that is because you're going to not only get that back out there on the market, but it's going to be a value add. So
absolutely,
I think it's foolhardy to think to yourself, it's a seller's market. I can just put any old turd. I can say
not
turd,
true,
right?
Sure. You just did. Say it again.
There's that turd's going to sit there on the market 90 days, and all of a sudden you just somehow managed to lose money in a seller's market.
Oh yeah, holding costs
because you did not listen to Larry. You didn't listen to Margaret. You thought to yourself, I know better than the people that are doing this every day, and you know.
Yeah, it's really true. I mean, you have to. Yes, it's still a seller's market. Excuse me. It's still a seller's market, but you still have to price your home right, guys. If you don't price your home right, you are not going to have a great experience in the real estate business.
Yeah. And by the way, if you want to know a lot more about pricing your home right and all the reasons you shouldn't be overpricing your home, you should be following Larry on TikTok, because he's all over this. He's got 10 reasons why you shouldn't. I mean, there's probably more than 10, but 10's a nice round number. It can't be overstated, but the real estate therapist _, don't forget that underscore, or else you're going to, I don't know, go some weird place.
It's a bad site.
But follow him. He's on Instagram as well. Good follows.
Yeah.
Certainly, if you are giving any consideration to selling your house, going on the market, and having some insights, and it's not going to cost you anything other than a few moments, and maybe you have to watch an ad or two.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
Yeah, I did a series called The Top 10 Things That Happen When You Overprice Your House, and frankly, none of them are good. And you can find them all in the book. Look at that. Look at that. Shameless promotion. You can find them all in my new book, The Top 10 Things, The Top 10... What the heck is the title?
What is my book
called?
called?
The Top Tens of Real Estate. Okay, I wrote this book, really, and I know the title. The Top Tens of Real Estate.
Did you, or did ChatGPT write
that book? Check it out. And you guys are, yes, Elon Musk wrote, me and Elon Musk wrote that book.
He's a busy dude, isn't he?
He is. Sorry about X, by the way, Elon.
Yeah, he's going to change the name of that book to, I don't know, some other thing that doesn't make any sense.
X3 or whatever, I don't know.
Is he a sponsor? I hope not.
No. I'm talking to him, though. All right, we're going to bring John Hoffman on now, and John is an REO warrior. I go way back with John. We've been doing REOs for, I don't do them as much now. John is still heavy into it. John, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Boy, that Zen moment you gave me, I had you reaching for the whiskey, and it's a little early for that.
Listen, are you at the lake this weekend?
I am at the lake.
Yeah, so I know you're already 3 sheets to the wind. It's like 9 o'clock. It's 9:39. No, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Oh, good.
How's the? You having fun out there this weekend?
Oh yeah, it's always good to get away, man. Especially in this real estate market, the way it's kind of battered everybody around. It's every chance you get to get away is good.
I love this market. There's no stress in it at all, and like we say, every Saturday 9 a.m. we put everybody in a state of real estate zen. A moment of peace in your life when it comes to real estate. I don't want anything to do with your family issues, but call me when it comes to... By the way, you guys can call us at 773-763-9278 if you have any questions about REOs, home staging, legal questions for Patrick.
You want to yell at a lawyer because you don't like lawyers?
Yeah, you got a good lawyer joke. What's black and brown and looks great on an attorney?
What?
A Doberman. Okay.
By the way, how you doing, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, I'm just, I'm taking some damage here, but I'll
come on. There's a lot of realtor jokes.
I know Larry, man.
The lawyer jokes are famous. What do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good
start.
That
one.
A good start.
An excellent start, right?
So, John, what is up in the REO market? What is going on with foreclosures these days?
Well, basically, it's really kind of almost a 10-headed monster. I mean, you've got, a lot of the inventory that was going into foreclosure 2018, 2019, 2020. That stuff's still in the system coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, keep that in mind. I've gotten properties that when I made initial access to them that were vacant, they'd been vacant for 6 years. So that's kind of what there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, the bank right now in Kane County. I mean, these are real stats too from last week. I think we're up to 86 foreclosures at the Kane County auction, and that was about 40 units. Not even 4 months ago. And so that's growing steadily. But real estate, bad news in real estate is always extremely slow to move.
Yeah, those foreclosures take ages to worm their way through the system, and that's just the legal aspect of it.
Especially now.
There's so much friction that was put into there already was a ton of friction in that system going in before COVID, but then COVID happens and they introduce even more friction just because they don't want to be forcing people out of their homes. I mean,
right.
You can use a lot of different language to describe this stuff. I mean, forcing people out of their homes is sort of it's a way of wording it that's maybe not fair to the lender, although I don't know that lenders need a lot of fairness from me. But yeah, even once it is gone and is done through sale approved by the judge, it could still be a long time because now you got
years.
You've got
right now
the lender going to FHA trying to get recoup their money from them, and that real estate's not moving until all of that stuff happens behind the scenes. And meanwhile, people are driving by it going, I wonder what happened with that place.
Yeah. And John, I know
Patrick,
no, go ahead.
I was going to say and you see FHA, they're offering to a guy who probably put 3.5% down, they're offering a 40. If he falls behind, they're giving him a 40-year loan, tacking what he owes on the back. I mean, the guy will probably never have equity in his property. Plus, with him struggling, he's probably not even maintaining the property.
Yeah.
So you're setting that up for more problems down the road,
It's a tough one. I don't think there's any good solutions on that situation.
Well, and the other thing is all real estate is local, right? So what happens with foreclosures here in Illinois, which is a judicial foreclosure state, which means basically you can be in your home for about 5 years or more. I mean, I had properties like I'm sure you have and may still have in my inventory that were there for 5-6 years before we actually started rehabbing and marketing them. And, it's just but in Texas, and this is real estate being local, in Texas, you're out in 30 days. You're out in 90 days in states like Texas and some other states. They are very, very different all over the country.
Well, if it wasn't for the heat, it'd be time to move.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Yeah.
Drive a half hour east of here into Indiana, and the entire ball game is flipped on its head.
Yeah.
Right.
Vegas, the same thing. It's different everywhere, folks. So make sure you're working with a real estate broker and an attorney and a lender that like, and trust, because this is a crazy market to maneuver. I can't say that enough. And I'm a little prejudiced. I'm a real estate broker, but I've been doing it 23 years. Patrick's been a real estate attorney for
almost 20 years.
John, the same thing. So
I say on a regular basis, a real estate transaction is going to go as well as the worst person involved.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
So, you can get.
We know a lot of those.
You could have just an A+ agent on each side, A+ attorney, but if that mortgage broker is a dud, forget it.
Yeah.
I mean, the
yeah.
thing is going to be just it's going to be the file that you hate until it finally closes.
John, tell everybody about how easy it is to be an REO broker. That there's not a lot of work involved in it. Basically, you're just getting listings shoved down your throat by Fannie and Freddie, and it's pretty easy.
When you walk in the door the first time.
And you better have $100,000 sitting around to pay all the bills for them. That's another thing.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Yeah, Fannie Mae at one point owed me like $200,000. And that's a lot of fun, but we know my history. We won't get into that now. Patrick, Patrick just had. Didn't you say you just closed the foreclosure?
Yeah, well, a client of mine just bought a house from Fannie this week. Matter of fact, she was very bent out of shape when they said, "We're not going to do any repairs," and I had already told her they're probably not going to do any repairs. They did do the little bit of scraping paint. And I think they had to do a little touch up for the minimum property requirements.
Hey, Patrick,
it's an FHA. So.
Patrick, I'll tell you what. Not to interrupt you, the banks are repairing all these now. They're flippers now.
Oh, really?
That's one of the problems too with the inventory. Is now before it used to be here, John. Here's a listing, get it off our books. They'll sell it. It needs $100,000 in work. Just get rid of it. They don't. They're not. They're repairing everything now. Everything.
That seems like a bad idea.
So that jammed the system up because houses I should have been listing. 9 months ago because of city permits and all that. I'm a year and a half into repairing them.
Well,
so bankers think that they're real estate moguls now, and
like Zillow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Zillow did great. Zillow did amazing when they tried to start flipping homes. I think they lost $1 billion in 3 weeks.
Give or take. Yeah. The little hack I will kind of put out there for those of you who are REO curious is that I would, if it were me doing my first REO purchase, I would look for a place where there is a point of sale inspection requirement, because that will at least give me an idea about what has to get repaired. And in some in some cases, well, I don't know. Maybe this is old news, but my experience from not so recently was that you might actually get a bank to do the point of sale repairs. At the very least, you could say, I'm out if they were.
Yeah, you're
nuts.
not getting Fannie to do anything.
No,
they're doing nothing.
They shall remain nameless. Too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, me and John literally can talk about REOs for the next 17 hours straight, and all you're going to hear is the F-bomb like every other word. And yes, I can say F-bomb on the radio. Am I right, Alex? Alex is our producer and on the board today. Yeah. Thanks, Alex.
And I'd love to hear all of it, because it's just like this stuff is like, I'm like eating power pellets like Pac-Man here, just leveling up.
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. It's a crazy, crazy business. It's really not typical retail real estate. It is herding cats is what you're doing. And
absolutely.
How's biz for you lately?
It's been climbing. It's getting steadier, picking up more listings. It's like I told you, it's like pushing an elephant up the stairs, man. It's so slow moving that it's like Patrick said, this court system's got 42 layers of bureaucracy that to get this property just to where it's even out of the system to us, which is still the system. So it's this colossal brigade of trying to get these properties through the system to me. But again, it's been busier, but I've got a lot of stuff coming, but it's all behind the scenes right now.
Yeah. Hey, when Fannie is rehabbing a house now, are they still doing it the same way with the same types of finishes and all that, or have they upgraded that?
It's better finishes now. Yeah, it's they do the same for every property because they don't want to get where they're being called out for doing nicer homes. So they're doing, doesn't matter if it's a $50,000 home or a $850,000 home. They're doing the same finishes, but they
yeah.
do.
There you go. There you go. They're geniuses. Let's face it.
That's
I know
not
you.
ideal.
Right.
I know you can't say some of the things I can say because you're still working for them. But trust me, give them my number. I'd love to talk to them sometime.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. They're like, look, do we want to get sued? No, but are we going to put a bunch of stuff in this $850,000 house that is immediately going to get ripped out? Yes.
Well, they also have a 3-month marketing plan. So when they put a house on the market, very often it's like crazy overpriced.
Full price.
Yeah, it's
full price for 3 months.
And
no
full
one's
price,
paying full price for bank-owned property, man. Like, forget about it. You're gonna get that contract's gonna arrive in my inbox. I'm gonna go, all right. So there's a lot of things that are going to be not in your favor in this contract, but what should be in your favor is the price. And if the response is, well, not really, I'm like, well, then why are we doing this?
Yeah. It's the first 3 months you're on the market. You're not getting much off of that price. And what's the owner occupant time frame now that they're using?
That's 30 days now. I mean, they basically do not want to sell to any investors anywhere, even after the 30.
And so
they'll sell it to an investor, but they shy against that very hard.
So even in the first 30 days, with inventory being like it is, and they're only selling to owner occupants, are you seeing those properties move pretty quickly because inventory is so low, or are they still pricing them too high initially for it to make sense to an owner occupant?
Yeah. They're being listed. You'll get three price drops in 3 months. Every 30 days you get a price drop.
I love that. I really do.
Even after the 30 days, the owner occupant, it's still going to be owner occupant. The investors are not buying these, even at 3 months, 4 months.
Right.
I mean, I'm seeing that trend right now.
Really?
A lot of these investors are just at the sidelines. Yeah, because they just don't make sense. A lot of these are just so far inflated that how do you make money on it? And then with the interest rates,
it's so crazy because if you think about it, why not price it right from the start, not incur all of those holding costs for the 3 months that you're $80,000 overpriced, and sell the property quickly and sell it to an owner occupant at a fair price, which you're going to do anyway because you're going through 3 or 4 price drops. Yeah, I don't want.
Larry,
I do not want Fannie Mae on my couch. What?
I think me and you did a show on that 4 years ago.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Me and you have been bitching about that forever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, and meanwhile, Larry, I mean, we talked earlier about how there's this housing shortage, and then we've got the banks who are fighting, as hard as possible not to introduce more inventory onto the market. I mean, from what you're describing, I'm just like thinking to myself, someone's got to get in some politicians' ears and be like, this whole housing shortage thing, you could just maybe move the needle on it a couple of notches if you just lit a fire under Fannie, Freddie, and some of these banks, and you'd come out looking like a hero.
I would prefer setting them on fire. I'm sorry.
Leave it to Larry.
I'm kidding. Okay. John, listen, we got to wrap it up. Before we, I do. Before we go, by the way, John is the broker owner at Y Rent Real Estate in Batavia. And John, if someone wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Sure. Just give me a call. My phone number is 630-601-1300. 630-601-1300, and call anytime.
Yeah,
phone's always on.
John doesn't always do just REOs, so he can help you with typical retail real estate as well. So if you don't call me, call him. Okay.
You got it.
And John, thanks for coming on today. Always love talking to you, man. Talk to you next week sometime, and have a great weekend out at that lake of yours. Now go hit that bottle.
Thanks for having me on, man. Good talking to you too, Patrick.
Official advice from your therapist: go hit the bottle.
Exactly. Exactly. I do.
That's the kind of therapist I get, Patrick.
That's all right.
All right, John. We'll see you later,
see
man.
you guys.
Yeah, I do not have a pharmacology license.
Oh, right.
So it's just about hitting the bottle. I'm joking. Don't send me any, letters or anything. I do not drink personally myself. So yeah, I'm not advocating anybody start drinking at 10 in the morning, but we'll talk.
I do enjoy the occasional beverage, and I can assure you it's never fixed a single one of my problems. So.
No, it doesn't. And the funny thing is, money doesn't fix your problems either.
It's just, it fixes one problem.
I wouldn't know that, but...
It fixes the only problem having money fixes is the I don't have money problem. But the rest of them are still there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really... Real estate's crazy. Hey, before we wrap up, I want to thank our sponsors one more time. I want to thank At Home Property, At Home Title Services, Go to athometitleservices.com. Sign up for their virtual event on the 16th of August at 11 a.m. If you're a real estate broker, you want to be a registered title agent. Also, I want to thank TrustedAgentUSA.com. If you want to save money, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, go to TrustedAgentUSA.com and check it out. You can save a ton of money and work with the best agents in your area. And also, by the way, look at that. You can buy that book at Trusted Agent USA. More shameless promotion.
Yeah, self-promotion.
And also want to thank Benchmark Mortgage and Dylan Kramer, of course. Patrick, how do people get in touch with you if they want to play soccer or if they need a real estate attorney?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I like to be found on social media. Give me some follows, some likes, all that good stuff, all that good engagement, stroke my ego. Loftus_law if you're looking at Instagram, LOF like Frank, T like Tom, US like Sam _law. Find me on TikTok at Loftus Law.
Yeah, so guys, remember, for the future, we didn't get any calls today, so I wasn't able to give away a gift certificate. So
all the pizzas,
it's mine.
All
I'm
our
going to use
pizza
it.
belong to us.
That's exactly right. But remember, 773-763-9278 is our phone number for you to call or text in every Saturday, 9 to 10 a.m. We are literally going to put you in that Zen moment. We are going to make your real estate life so much more pleasant, right?
No doubt.
Right. So you guys tune in again next week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you then on Real Estate Radio with the Real Estate Therapist.
Thanks for joining us on Real Estate Radio with your host, Larry Shakman, the real estate therapist and top producing broker. Now, go to TrustedAgentUSA.com and save thousands when you sell, buy, or invest. Illinois license number 475145795. Tune in next week for the ultimate real estate